Every Wednesday, me and my elementary school kids, we sit around the carpet at morning meeting, and the theme of morning meeting is Would You Rather Wednesday. And a couple of weeks ago, we ended up having a Would You Rather Wednesday question that I thought was really interesting, and I kind of wanted to elaborate upon today. And the question was, would you rather be a kid or would you rather be an adult? Now we have a big stuffed animal that we end up throwing around the room, and we go in a circle and we pass around the stuffed animal, which is called guac, as in guacamole, by the way, and we share our would you rather answer. And I let the kids go first, and I wanted to go last. I was very curious as to what they would say, whether or not they would want to be a kid forever or if they would want to be an adult, because of course, as adults, we have all of these privileges and we get to do what we want to with the free time, but at the same time, we have less free time for recreation and exploration and just enjoying life than kids do. And I have a group of smart kids, and I was really interested to see what they would want to share. And so we went around the circle, and from student to student, I got to hear their answers, and pretty much every single student in the class ended up saying that they would rather be a kid than an adult. And then finally, after we kept on passing the stuffed animal around the room, it was my turn. And all of the kids, I think, were really excited to see what the one adult in the room would say about whether or not they would rather be a kid or rather be an adult. And it's probably unsurprising to you that I said I would rather be a kid. And maybe it is surprising. I don't know. You'll have to let me know in the comments. But for me, I work with kids every single day, and kids have to deal with a lot. And I think that when we're adults, we kind of forget all of the things that kids actually deal with, because a small problem for us, something that is really nothing, is actually a big deal for a kid because they just have not had enough experience in order to deal with those challenges and that sort of thing. And so for me, I recognize that my kids have to deal with a lot of struggle, but I think both myself and them as well were able to recognize that as kids, they were able to be permitted with a relative degree of, I guess I would say, irresponsibility when it comes down to it, that is necessary when it comes to growing up and exploring and being able to enjoy life, right? Like, the more that we grow up, and my experience and my reason for choosing being a kid over an adult is that my experience at 27 of growing older and older is that my life much more so is becoming kind of obligated by the 9 to 5 or my work and the overtime that comes with it. And as you get older, you have to put even more work into your health and into your social relationships, where for kids, all of that is kind of just a golden key at the beginning of their lives. They are able to go and socialize with people that by default they're kind of placed next to in a school setting, and they have plenty of time to get to know each other and to hang out. And definitely nowadays, as a teacher, we don't even give homework at our school. Like, our kids, as soon as they're done with school for the day, they don't have to do any more work or anything like that. And I have definitely many opinions when it comes to that, and that's definitely another video by itself. But for all of these kids, they also were able to recognize the fact that they had this ability to enjoy freedom and a lack of responsibility, not in a bad way, because they were able to just enjoy the fruits of life. And I chose being a kid for very similar reasons. And so it was kind of interesting that the rationale that me and a bunch of 7 and 8-year-old kids about being a kid forever, as opposed to being an adult, was all the same, if that makes sense. And I found that really interesting. My, again, experience of adulthood is ever more consumed with responsibility. And with responsibility, you definitely grow because you have to have more challenge. But the reality of your life when it comes down to it is that the bar, I guess you could say, or the level of challenge only continues to raise. Because even if you're proving satisfactory at whatever level it is that you're doing at whatever skill, or maybe in your work or your profession, whatever it is, the bar can always be raised. And at the same time, the more experience that you have in life, oftentimes the more things that you take on and the more things that you have to juggle on your shoulders. And I think that my kids, like my school kids, I think they realize that, which is a really interesting thing. And I kind of am curious as to whether that is also because the world happens to be changing. Many people say that we are in a very historical moment with the advent of AI and how that is changing everything in social media. Even when it comes to education, the advent of technology and what it means for kids even being able to access different sorts of information, be able to make more conclusions when it comes to information, that potential is much greater. But at the same time, there's the whole point of why would I even do this thing when I think that kids will see that in a adult sort of way. Oftentimes in life, it doesn't actually matter how hard you work, right? Like I'm a teacher and they see me, they know that I have a YouTube channel and they know that I also work another side job on top of working my full-time job as a teacher, which is, very time and energy intensive, of course. And so I'm juggling many things. And I think that they see that and they also see their parents juggling so many things. And I've had many kids talk about, I never even see, my parent, whether it be their mom or their dad or anything like that. And many times it's because they're working so late and they're juggling so many different things that they don't even have time for kids, which I've explained to them many times that I don't have kids at this point in time. You guys are them. And I will do the best that I can in order to make the best versions of human beings that you can be. And that's my job and my responsibility as a teacher. But for me, I don't have kids. So when I'm done, I get to do what I want to with my time. And when you get older, the more things that you juggle, the less time that you're going to have in order to be able to do the things that may speak to your intrinsic calling in life, or the things that you innately want to pursue, or the skills that you want to develop, or how you want to maintain yourself in terms of your health or your mental acuity or your social relationships or your ability to kind of let loose and whatever it is, right? As a parent, after doing all of the work and working overtime nowadays with all of the extra responsibilities, you also, if you have that free time, you're also going to sacrifice and be responsible and dedicated and supportive and caring of your kid at the same time. And so for me, at my age, I also recognize the fact that I do have, even though my time feels very limited with all the things that I'm juggling, more time than other people that happen to have kids. And I do appreciate that point in my life because I want them at some point in time. But I also recognize that the more, having a kid is one of the greatest sacrifices that you could ever make. And you never want to give anything but 100% of yourself towards that. But what about all of the things that speak to you and call to you and you want to have with the free time? We have so much less free time nowadays because we're all working harder and longer than we've ever been, right? And that is, again, another video by itself. But I really do think that when it comes down to it, the kids are on to something. And I don't think that I would have really had that same sort of thought process when I was a kid. I grew up, thinking that being an adult was like the most awesome thing ever. And that I would be able to do whatever I wanted to and explore however I wanted to and have all of this freedom and ability to kind of grow and expand without necessarily keeping in mind all of the things that keep piling on my shoulders as I get older. And it's just interesting, I think, seeing that these kids actually are able to see that, this difference where I think, we see it in the news and we see it within ourselves and our parents and within our friends and the people that we know, that everyone feels like they're lacking on this ability to be able to have that lack of responsibility from time to time and just be able to enjoy the moment to moment of life. And that is a precious thing. And it's just interesting seeing that more, that you can see how adulting and getting older and society and how things are looking at a macro and a micro sense are changing. in such a drastic fashion with everything. And it's a scary and uncertain reality when it comes down to it. It's interesting seeing that these kids have a feeling of wanting to hold on to their youth, and I don't think that's a bad thing whatsoever. So I'd love to know your thoughts when it comes down to it, but I just wanted to share kind of this story and my thoughts on it. If you would ever like to get another look at some more of my thoughts and maybe some routines and that sort of thing, definitely take a look at this video right here. And every like and subscribe and comment goes such a long way for a channel like me. I appreciate you. I'm sending you all of the love, and I will talk to you all on the flip side.